Joining us now live from Michigan is the great state of Michigan's Attorney General, Dana Nessel. Madam Attorney General, thank you so much for being here tonight. I know it's a busy time.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate your use of the term bullpucky. I've never heard that before, but I'm going to use it.
Bullpucky and horse hockey are terms of art. You're welcome to use either of them. I don't even collect commission anymore. First, let me just ask you if I got any of that wrong, or if there's any important part of this case that you brought today, that you announced today, that I've missed.
No, I think it was a good summation. But what I think I'd like people to know is, first of all, that was 12,000 calls that were made to the state of Michigan and really centralized in the city of Detroit, the 313 area code, which is the city of Detroit. But think about this. So that's 12,000 calls to 12,000 potential voters. Trump won the state of Michigan by just over 10,000 votes. So, this is incredibly impactful. And what I've thought about for a long time is, what is the point of having all these laws on the books in regard to voter suppression, voter intimidation, threats against voters, if we never actually enforce them? And what we know about 2016 is that Trump didn't win because of the people who voted for him in Michigan. He won because of the people who didn't vote at all. And that is what I think these folks are trying to accomplish, trying to suppress the vote and scare people into not voting absentee during the course of a global pandemic. And we're not having it in this state. We're just absolutely not going to accept that these individuals can be so brazen as to attach themselves personally to these phone calls and think they can just get away with it. If they think it's funny, they can joke around about it behind bars, as far as I'm concerned.
Is there a technical reason why cases like this are hard to bring? Obviously, these gentlemen that your office has charged today, they have their names on the front of this robocall. They've since publicly denied that they actually made the robocall and said somebody else must have done this in their names in order to make them look bad or prank them. When it comes to the technical nature of proving that these were the people who, in the charges, conspired to and ultimately committed these acts of voter intimidation, is it hard to prove?
Well, unfortunately for Mr. Wohl and Mr. Burkman, about a year ago in my office, we established one of the first anti-robocalling task forces. And so we weren't interested at the time in political-related robocalls. We were interested in those calls that are made that end up defrauding people and scamming people. So we already had the technology in place. So we knew where these calls were coming from, and that allowed us to work with authorities in the state of California. And thanks to my good friend, Attorney General Becerra in California, who assisted us in this investigation. But we have compelling evidence that these individuals committed these crimes. And we're quite clear and confident about who the perpetrators of these crimes were. They just obviously never thought that we would actually investigate and actually charge. But, voter suppression is a very serious matter. And as Thomas Paine so famously stated many years ago, voting is the right upon which all other rights are dependent. So if you deprive somebody of their ability to vote, you deprive them of everything else in life. And, this has gone on for far too long. I think many people are tired of their scams. This isn't the first time that we've investigated these guys. As you noted, there was an incident involving Pete Buttigieg that involved the state of Michigan and an individual who lived in the state of Michigan. So it's not the first time I've seen their names on a piece of paper in my office. And we're tired of them coming into our state and stirring up this kind of trouble by using false and misleading statements and trying to threaten or intimidate voters.
Are you worried about other types of other approaches toward voter intimidation in Michigan? Obviously, such a crucial swing state. As you mentioned, the margin there in 2016 was basically nothing. We've seen the president and the Biden campaign as well pay lots of attention to the state. Are you worried that this might be designed to dovetail with other suppressive measures or intimidation measures at Michigan polling places?
Well, that's what we're expecting here, and we've already seen it. And that's why we're trying to work with our partners on the many social media platforms. We've talked to Facebook and Twitter and Google and YouTube, and we're trying to ensure that as soon as we identify misinformation that is out there or disinformation, that it is removed or at least that it's flagged. It's a little hard, though, when so much misinformation is actually coming from the President of the United States himself. But, what we have to do as public officials is we have to fight back misinformation with accurate information and make sure that people know how to vote, when to vote, and how to make sure their vote counts. Because I think that this misinformation, it's out there in an effort to deter people from going to the polling place in the first place or from casting their absentee ballot. And we want to make sure that doesn't happen by letting people know there are all these different avenues by which you can vote. It's safe, it's secure, and ultimately your vote will count. And after the votes are counted and tabulated, the person who has the most votes will win. So this will be a free and fair election, but we just have to combat all the noise, all the misinformation that is constantly out there so that we don't see massive voter suppression, which is, again, what we saw in 2016.
Attorney General Dana Nessel of the great state of Michigan, thank you so much for coming on the air with us tonight and helping us understand. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.